Will, it's my understanding there's something you really wanted to share with the crowd that you disclosed to us last night.
So my movie night is coming up, and for this one I was like, it's my birthday, now you guys pick a movie off my watch list, and my partner Jay picked Labyrinth, and it brought back the memory that, like, I don't remember what happens in Labyrinth now, but back in the day, I know that I love that movie so much, because I specifically, like, I have a memory of being in my living room and, like, singing that song, not the whole song, the chorus of the song, because I could only remember that, to myself while I would build Bionicles. And, like, this wasn't like, the little Bionicles that are, like, 20 pieces. These were like the fucking jets and stuff. This took hours. I sang the chorus of that song for hours at a time when I was a kid.
So was it Dance Magic Dance?
That's the one, yeah.
I guess there's worse songs to sing for hours on end.
No,
Yeah,
there certainly are.
There certainly are, but yeah, I don't know why that memory just hit me in the face like a ton of bricks last night, but apparently it was time to remember,
No, I get that sometimes. Like, a few times I'm sitting in the shower and I'll remember the time my mom got me and my sister the original motion picture soundtrack for Alvin and the Chipmunks. And, yeah, we played all those songs on loop way too many times because we were losers.
I was like the right age. We played. My sister and I demanded "Shrek the Halls" get played on repeat a lot in car rides.
I think for me, it was... Well, I didn't really get a choice, to be fair, but it was usually like oh my god, both the High School Musical soundtracks. There were some Jonas Brothers in there.
You say I didn't really get a choice, but you fucking love the High School Musical movies.
I do. I just remember that, like, I wouldn't get to choose the songs. Because my dad would be like, what do you guys want to listen to? And my sister would be like, I want to listen to this song. And I'd be like, I want to listen to this one. And my dad would be like, all right, we're going with the one your sister wants to listen to every goddamn time.
Sister Monopoly, yeah, that was kind of the same way. Sister Monopoly has a lot of power, I guess, because, Dave, your sister's younger, huh?
My sister's younger, so I think it's just like an older-younger sibling thing, because I think that I definitely got most of the priority.
So every time the Vandiver family piled into the van, it was Christmas Cash, I take it, by Fred Figglehorn.
Oh, God, no. My parents would not ever let us play our own music on the car rides. They'd play their own songs, and one time that kind of shot them in the back of the head, because, like, we were taking a trip, and it was about a 9-hour drive, and we only had a single Lady Antebellum CD.
Oh my god.
So it was just like the same 10 songs on loop for 10 hours.
No.
Wait, so then when did you play the Alvin and the Chipmunk songs?
Oh, that was just when we were at home, like in our own rooms, but we put them in like a little radio CD player, and we would like turn the music up loud enough that my dad would get pissed, because those songs are obviously awful if you're not 7 years old. They're a form of torture.
That someone took the original Alvin and the Chipmunks album and slowed it down to normal speed and called it, I think, sludgecore, because it just sounds like Nirvana.
I thought you were going to say it just sounded like the normal songs again.
They had to play the music fast, too.
I see, yeah, that makes sense. Well, like, I feel there was always that moment on YouTube as well where you could find, any song sped up and someone would upload it and call it, like, I don't know, Party Rock Anthem, Alvin and the Chipmunks version, and I wasn't fully literate of the fact that anyone could just speed up a song and call it that, and I was like, Fucking Alvin and the Chipmunks did that? Did LMFAO? What the hell?
It's like the picture of the guy at the crossroads, and it's like on the left is Alvin and the Chipmunks, and on the right is Nightcore.
Oh, yeah. Rev up those fryers and fill those champagne glasses to the tippy top. It's West Coast Toast and Roast with Tommy, Will, and Dav. Welcome back to West Coast Toast and Roast. I will allude to nothing specifically about my state of mind, except that this is the April episode, and if you know me, you know I love a seasonal special, so that should give you a hint of how I'm doing. Think of the most important holiday in April. Wink, wink. I don't know if that made any sense to people. I'm Tommy.
And I am also celebrating the most important holiday in April, Easter. And I'm Will.
I'm just gonna say it's fucking 420 season. It's about a week out, but I mean, 'tis the season. And I'm also diabetic, and I'm deaf.
All right. Man, okay. Yeah, I'm a little scared of how this episode's going to go, but I guess we'll see. I'm already feeling a little...
About half an hour or so.
All right. Head in the game. Trailer Life or Death. I've given you both 3 trailers to watch. First is Richard Linklater's Hitman, starring Glenn Powell. This was a huge festival darling that was acquired by Netflix. It's like, I think it's just like precisely the kind of movie people missed. So when people saw this, I want to say at TIFF or Tribeca, they were like losing their goddamn minds. They're like, crime comedy with like a sexiness and, that's kind of harder to place is back. It is about Glenn Powell taking on various disguises to fool people who are trying to hire assassins and get a sting on people committing that crime, but he gets entangled with a sexy client. It's gonna get a life from me. I like Linklater. It's the man behind School of Rock, among other classics. I think this looks pretty solid. I'm kind of excited for it. How about you both?
Also give it a life. I think it looks like a ton of fun. I also thought the trailer had very nice music, and I don't know why, but like the music and the stuff that was happening kind of like danced together in perfect harmony. And also it just looks really like funny, kind of like what you said. It looks funny. It looks interesting. I give this one a life. I think this will be like this will be one of the Netflix ones that I think I check out.
Yeah.
I will also give this a life. I think I saw the trailer for this in front of Challengers, and it does look like a very interesting concept. I kind of like the idea of this kind of a loser weirdo guy pretending to be this charismatic hunk and kind of pulling it off pretty well, and I think that there's a lot of potential for some good comedy out of that. So yeah, life from me.
It's perfect for Glenn Powell. He's kind of the Ashton Kutcher of our generation, handsome but dorky and not friends with sex offenders, knock on wood. Our video game trailer of the month is Visions of Mana, which is, I guess, in the Mana universe, / maybe it's like Final Fantasy, where it's a different universe. I kind of don't know. I just think it looks neat. I like that there's a lot of JRPGs coming out this year, and none of them are all that daunting. Like, a lot of them, like, there's one we'll talk about later in the news cycle, but there's a lot of good approaches to, like, real-time combat, and it looks, more interesting than, say, Final Fantasy 15 or 16. Very colorful, very pretty looking. I've never played a Mana... Wait, no. No, I have. I've tinkered with the first Mana game. I can't remember what it's called. But I've definitely, on the SNES Classic, I've played around with that one a bit. But I think this looks cool. I'll probably give it a chance. This is life from me.
I mean, just like putting it out there, I've just kind of had enough of these stupid video games. Like, aren't we a little old to be playing video games?
Video games.
Shut up!
Go watch Fesh Pence 3
Yep.
and all the other episodes, honestly. It's classic.
All two
Honestly,
of them.
watch everything on Crobo Productions channel. That's like an actual shill. Incredible work. Crobo, if you're listening, this episode is dedicated to you. Anyways, I'm gonna give it a death because the environments don't look very fun, and I don't really like the character designs very much. I think it's definitely just one of those things that might not be up my alley, but it just kind of looks like a generic RPG, and right now the trailer didn't do too good a job convincing me that, like, I should play it, so I give it a death.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and give it a life with the qualifier that I'm probably not going to get around to playing this. I think I remember seeing the trailer for this at the Game Awards or something, and at first thinking it was like a new Dragon Quest game, just because it was kind of giving me those vibes, so... I guess when this comes out, if I feel like I really need to tide myself over until Dragon Quest 12, which is taking fucking forever to come out, and if I've already finished all the other Dragon Quest games that I'm playing, then maybe I'll play this. So, I'll give it a life. I like the colorful kind of art style and stuff, and it looks decently fun.
Yeah. It is kind of a cat girl, so that surprised me a little that you don't like the characters well.
I guess I wasn't, like, quite looking close enough, because I don't remember a cat girl in that.
Maybe I'm the one who's mixed up. I feel like the girl with, like, the extra long hair is some kind of...
Anyways, while you're looking that up, can I introduce the next one?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Alright. Hey guys, it's Striker Star 19. And today, I'm going to introduce a trailer that's very near and dear to my heart. Now, oftentimes when I was young, I would watch these things called cartoons. And believe me, there were no cars in them. But recently, we found one that seems to be sticking. That one being the Smiling Friend. Now, I'm going to give this one a life because... this series is full of colorful characters and great animation. And it's great to see Newgrounds people, like Zach Hadel, produce this kind of top quality work. Though I will say, I am a bit nervous to hear what our friend Troy thinks about this. Well, I think that's all. Tommy, what do you think?
Well, I'm gonna talk like Will for a second, and... there's no Yakuza video game I can directly compare it with. Not much else to say. I'm just gonna give it a death.
Oh, have you actually given this a death?
No, I am gonna give it a life. I think, I don't know. I feel like I'm fully, like, when Smiling Friends, like, first started, I was like, okay, yeah, no, I see what you're going for. Something in, just a switch in me has happened, and I'm, like, fully Smiling Friends pilled. Maybe it was Gwimbly. Maybe it was Gwimbly, because I thought that episode was really good. It's good. I thought this trailer was really good. I like the music choice with it. I think it's a surprisingly sweet show for being a show where executives get stabbed in the head, you know? And the song kind of suits that. I'm looking forward to season 2.
Now you have to be a parody of yourself as you explain why this one gets life or death.
Oh, okay. Diabetes, insulin, diabetes, Dexcom G7, insurance, America, diabetes. And that's a life.
Alright.
My Twitter, the Hollywood Handle Twitter just tweeted, Greenland colon migration has begun filming.
Greenland what migration?
Like a colon, like the dots on top of each other, like Greenland is a franchise. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Alright, well, why don't you start us off with our proper topic rotation?
Okay. So, I think I'm going to start off with a movie that we all saw last Saturday called Hundreds of Beavers. This is a big toast. This is just like straight up one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. I would argue that it's like in leagues with, if not maybe a little better than something like Airplane. I think it is absolutely fantastic.
Like in terms of like just the comedies of all time.
Honestly, yeah, and like especially parody stuff. For those of us at home, Hundreds of Beavers is a movie that's like, the best way I can describe it is it's like a live-action cartoon. Like, there's slapsticks and Looney Tune gags. The thing is, so I kind of absorb a lot of Looney Tunes data from hearing you talk about them, Tommy. And I think and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things that makes Looney Tunes really special is they always kind of pull one over on you for the joke. So, like, you know, it's not exactly what you would think the joke would be.
Oh,
Am I
yeah,
kinda
totally.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what I think makes Hundreds of Beavers so insane is that it does that, and then does it again for every single joke. And it is fucking hilarious. There is a scene where, like, there's like a running joke where this guy, like, spits into, like, a spit can, and the first time he does it, it bounces off a tree, and you kind of expect it to go in, but it just hits the ground instead. And that happens, like, multiple times throughout the movie until it all culminates in he, like, spits at the main character, and the main character holds up a spit can, and it, like, repels the spit. It is one of the best written comedies I've ever seen. All the animals are just dudes in, like, mascot costumes. There are hundreds of beavers in it. It's just, I don't really want to give anything else away. I think, as the coach is one of the hardest times I've ever laughed. You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic comedy. Everyone in it does really well, and yeah, I guess I'm gonna like pass it over to you guys to hear what y'all thought of it, because I don't want to give like too much away for the folks at home, but it is just like, it's really funny, and it is like a live action cartoon. Like, cartoon stuff happens in it, except arguably I feel like they almost parody cartoons as well. So it's like, it's a faithful cartoon, but also kind of a parody of a cartoon, which is really, it's like layers and layers on parody. And that's fucking insane. Dad, what did you think of it?
I thought it was fucking fantastic, and it's like one of my favorite movies now, and I hope to God we get some sort of physical release for it, because I definitely want to pick it up. I guess I'll add, in addition to just the humor being so good, and it being kind of very Looney Tunes-esque, you're probably going to call me crazy for saying this, but it also is kind of like classic Super Mario Logan style.
What?
Where it kind of taps into that part of my brain, because I used to love Super Mario Logan when I was like 11 years old, and fucking just the whole comedy of like a felt immutable facial expression, just like going through these insane stunts, like just these beaver suits full with people ragdolling around this fake environment, and it's just hysterical the way it like leans into the slapstick. That'll just never not be funny for me. There's just something so funny about it. I think so. The whole movie was fantastic.
I think you'd lose your fucking mind if you ever watched The Muppets, David.
I mean, I like the Muppets too. I think it's funny.
Oh man, see, I thought you were, because it's also kind of a video game in addition to being a live action cartoon. Because literally, while we're watching, Dav just mumbles, "This movie's a fucking roguelike." And
yeah, it turns into like him going through a cycle of like these preset events and just having to do better each and every time to basically maximize the number of beavers he kills so that he can get more rewards and then do it all again. So it's very roguelike.
And, like, when he returns to the shop to trade in his pelts, it, like, kind of resembles a menu. Like, there's a cursor representing him making up his mind. And it goes, boop, boop.
Right.
God, you mentioned a physical release. Imagine watching this on, like, a fucking CRT or something. That would go fucking insane. Yeah, this
Every
movie...
once in a while, they'll put, like, somebody will print something new on, like, a VHS tape, and I can see that working for this movie.
I want, like,
Watch
TV...
Hundreds of Beavers on gramophone.
I want, like, TV Land to acquire this, and for retired folks to, like, come across it and be like, oh, it's an old film from my day, and then, like, the beaver gets knocked into the tree and his neck, like, elongates and breaks. Oh, dear.
Like, Grandma Jimmy is just like, I watched this wonderful movie. The man chewed on wood like a beaver, then vomited blood.
That's like, well, wait, Grandma Jimmy?
No, I said, like, because you said that, like, old people on TV Land would be watching this.
Yeah.
And they would see the guy, like, chew on the wood like a beaver in the one scene and then vomit blood.
Man, yeah. Hundreds of Beavers. You can rent it. And I think it's, like, gradually trickling into theaters, but I would see this on a big screen if it made it that far.
Oh, this would be a very fun theater experience.
Oh, yeah.
Alright. I mean, we can cut this, because I should have asked, are either of you going to talk about Civil War? Should we cover that, as long as we're on movies we've all seen?
Yeah, I'm not talking about it, so we can...
I'm not talking about it either.
Alright, do you want to just do that now?
Unless you were going to talk about it, sure.
Okay. I don't think I was necessarily gonna. So, Civil War, every year, I thoroughly believe there's a movie that discourse just can't be normal about. And this year it was Civil War, because it is a great fucking film and everything people have been asking for, and the film community has been crossing their arms like a fucking brat in a high chair saying, no, not clear enough politics.
Yeah, Civil War is... Okay, Alex Garland, besides Men, is one of my favorite directors ever. Civil War is really fucking good. I think it's like... It does kind of have that perfect balance of, like, you know, political commentary and just, like, in a vacuum, a good story, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I thought the themes of the movie were also very good. I think it's you know, it's not like a movie that you sit up and cheer for, but I honestly think it's like an important movie. Would you guys agree?
Oh, absolutely.
I think, yeah, as a concept it's very important, but I think that it did not do a good enough job of getting its message across because of the terrible marketing.
The marketing sucks. I don't disagree. Yeah.
Like, there shouldn't be... I was saying this after we walked out. There should not be, like, a map. There shouldn't really be any world building. What people really need to get through their heads, because there's so much, like, glamorizing the idea of a civil war in America. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of people seem to want it to happen, and I think the point that this movie is mostly trying to make is that, like, it does not matter who you are or what side you're on. Statistically speaking, in any kind of civil conflict, you're fucked.
Oh, absolutely.
Very true.
Well, and I'm not going to put anyone in particular on blast, but people I saw this film with, who I would describe as well-meaning in general, were very distressed by it, and they saw the president figure as a left-leaning character because of the riot on the White House. They thought it was January 6th. And when I pointed out, no, he's staying a third term, he's actually a Trump figure, he whistled a totally different tune. And I feel like that perspective, that isolated incident, is a matter of, so, like, wait. And I felt like Charlie from Smiling Friends, you'd be okay with a civil war if a Democrat started it? Like... You know, like, it is kind of, it almost doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter, because it does just go to show that if America divided to that point, everyone would be in grave danger. Yeah. And, you know, it is about the journalists, and it is just, again, it's one of those things where it's like, I was pretty clear how I feel, that if you are mad this film didn't have clearer politics, you kind of don't deserve it. And I feel this is a film, because it's about the journalists, it needs to take that neutral lens, no pun intended. And I really liked, there's a video gaminess of it, where I was almost like, oh, it's kind of like Pokemon Snap, but you're getting really good shots of people dying horribly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, which isn't to say it's like, you know, lighthearted. It's like harrowing as all get out, but it's like so fucking well executed. I think the core cast is really fucking good. It's probably Kirsten Dunst's best performance, I would say, question mark.
I would also agree with that.
Yeah.
She's really good in it.
She's really good. Wagner Moura, who I thought was good. I think we're early in the year. Kaylee Spaney, she's the young girl. The way she, like, evolves and kind of changes, kind of front runner for performance of the year at the moment, but we still have a lot of year to go through, honestly.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, and I don't, the marketing is so fucking, like, even outside, I don't think this movie, AI controversy aside, I don't think this film has a single good poster. And I know that's, like, such a gripe, but I'm like, it could have been the barracks around the Statue of Liberty torch. I think they could have done, and why not just show something involving the characters? Because I do feel people aren't noticing this is a character piece. I think that's, like, the strong element of it, is showing how these different personalities deal with the serious trauma. Yeah, the serious trauma they're going. Just make it, I don't know, do a character poster of Kirsten Dunst and Wagner Moura and Kaylee Spaney with a camera in front of their face, and they're taking a picture of some disaster.
Oh, or, even better, what if it's like they're in there, and in the camera lens, it's, like, reflected, seeing, like, the troops fighting.
Oh, absolutely. Like, yeah, like one where it's, like, a Statue of Liberty on fire in the lens. One where it's, like, the Lincoln Monument eating someone. We just marketed the film, so I feel like that, like, there's so much, they wanted to market it with all this abstract imagery of, like, yeah, like, barracks on the Statue of Liberty or some AI slop. I think we just marketed it better than we could form a crambling duvet in of ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to market this movie better than it already has been.
Golly, yeah, no, I think this movie's fucking cool as shit. It's my favorite of the year so far, up against both of your choices of Hundreds of Beavers. It felt like the kind of series, like okay, dumping time is over. Like, no more spring trash stuff. We're kind of going into summer blockbusters.
Yeah, it feels like a big movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it... sorry, go ahead, Will.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, I think, it is, like, kind of important political commentary that, like, I could see future generations looking back on, and, like, hopefully not quite getting it, but then, like kind of like sometimes how we look back at, like, the Cold War, you know? Like, Cold War movies. Like, I think it would be interesting to, like, go into the future and see how this movie's perception changes over time.
Right, yeah. See if people are just going to be like, oh, this is a documentary at some point. Alright, well, yeah, no, and, you know, it got picked up a lot of heat. It's kind of cool that there's just, like, a war movie where there's, like, a desolated JCPenney. I just think it makes good use of that imagery, even though some people point to it as being, like, a lazy aspect. They're like, oh, Garland just wants to do a war movie without subtitles. But it's like, it's fucking cool that, like, Washington monuments are being set ablaze in the context of the film. Yeah, no, I thought this was fucking cool.
Yeah. And I guess that's like a second mini toast too. So with hundreds of beavers and Civil War, I'll pass it to David.
Okay.
To Dav. Or Dave.
Or Dave. Or Denny the Robot. I'm going to start with a roast of a little movie called Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, this is one that we watched for movie night, and it was paired with Hundreds of Beavers. We call it the Hundreds of Beavis movie night, and
I was partial to Beavers and Butthead.
Or Beavers and Butthead. You could really go either way. We watched Hundreds of Beavers first, and I don't know if it was just the comparison to that, or the fact that it's overall a really bad movie, but I did not have a good time with this. It's the first Beavis and Butthead media I've ever experienced, and I think it will be the only one, because I've decided I don't like these characters. They are just really annoying. I mean, they act like kids that I knew when I was really young, and I think maybe they were taking from the mannerisms of these two unfortunate American icons, and I could feel my brain cells dying every second this movie went on, because the two main characters, like, the whole comedy is just that they're fucking morons. And
I think... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead.
I was just going to say, in regards to, like, the people you went to high school with, Tommy knows who I'm talking about, but, like, there was a guy who, like, would not stop calling himself Cornholio, pulled his shirt over his head in, like, inappropriate situations, kept saying the word bunghole. You know who I'm talking about, right, Tommy?
I believe I do, yes.
Okay, yeah, so we're with you, buddy.
Well, and, like...
Yeah, we kind of grew up in a time where it was just, like, it was funny to act like this.
Well, and this had to have been in, like, it's fucking... We're in an unfair position where I almost feel like it's impossible to criticize Beavis and Butthead, because we run the risk of looking like that tweet that says, "The shit Bart Simpson gets away with makes me fucking sick," you know? Like, because that was, like, the cultural discussion at the time, I feel like, was that Beavis and Butthead was the show kids liked because it pissed off their parents, and it was, like, you know, counter value. And I think it was part of such a specific, like, cultural moment that we were babies during. And this movie was the year before I was born, I think. It's like 96?
Yeah.
Which, yeah, and so watching it as a full-grown millennial, where, like, half the jokes of half our favorite cartoon characters are that they're rude, and have way more going on top of that. You know, the first characters to talk about scoring on cartoon TV really doesn't faze me that much.
Yeah, they're not annoying enough to be, like, counterculture anymore. They're just annoying.
Beavis
and they're fucking disgusting.
Well, Beavis and they're like they're your average college roommates now, whereas before people were, like, clutching their goddamn pearls that this guy wore a fucking AC/DC shirt.
It's just obnoxious.
Pretty much, and the movie is pretty nondescript in of itself. It's kind of a classic, they get the wrong package, or, like, smuggler gives the package to our heroes story, and Bruce Willis is the smuggler, and he... I don't know how they got him to do this.
I mean, I guess it was, like, Beavis and Butthead were decently big back in the mid-90s, but... So it was a paycheck.
Yeah. Well,
he does arguably worse things now.
Yeah, true. And I guess no small part of Beavis and Butthead, like the show, I think was just the characters watching music videos. Because, to my recollection, they were on MTV and they would be cut, like, into the music video segues and used as a showcase there. So the movie not really utilizing that in any way. I don't know if it's a missed opportunity per se, but there's like a lot of fucking dead air in this movie of the characters just like giggling to themselves that could have been filled with more structure to that effect.
Yeah. I just don't understand how this series has had the longevity in our cultural, just like, overall media. Because, like, you know, even recently we had that SNL sketch where, like, Ryan Gosling was, like, dressed up as Beavis, and like, so jokes are still made about these two characters because they still live in our minds, but I don't know how much longer that's going to last, because I don't really know anybody in our generation who still unironically likes it now.
There are, like, elder millennial snobby podcasters, which I say affectionately, who, like, love Beavis and Butthead. And I think they were just, like, at that right age to remember when it was, like, kind of special. And, like, I almost feel like the natural evolution in our generation would be regular show, because it's similarly to kind of, like, slacker, stonery guys who don't want to do anything fucking responsible. But, like, the difference is they actually, like, do stuff and have characters.
Yeah.
They seem like, although they're, like, slackers, they're still endearing. I feel like there's nothing even slightly enjoyable about Beavis and Butthead as characters.
Oh, they just make me kind of sick.
Honestly, yeah, they're disgusting fucking people, and it's like, you just kind of want to, like, put them out of their misery or something.
It's the anti-Bluey, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You watch it and you're like, oh, I would love to have children someday. And then you watch Beavis and Butthead do America, and you're like, oh, never mind.
Well, what's bizarre, too, is that it's created by Mike Judge, who also created King of the Hill, which I would consider a very thoughtful and full-hearted cartoon. Whereas,
Idiocracy.
Yeah, and Idiocracy. Like, genuinely, King of the Hill, I think, is just one of the, you know, more... I think, like, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. But it has a lot of heart behind it, and a lot of just very genuine intentionality and things to say. And I'm sure... This could so easily... I feel like we're doomed. No one really watches the podcast. It's for fun and to look back on. But if this podcast ever got big, people would love to clip out us complaining about Beavis and Butthead, I feel like, and be like, look at these fucking losers. Because there's something that's just not clicking with our generation in Beavis and Butthead.
Sorry, the media you grew up on was shit. Can't help you there.
Ooh.
So hopefully we never have to watch Do the Universe. Fuck Beavis and Butthead, this movie, and frankly the franchise. I'll pass it back to you, Tommy.
Alright. Okay, I'm gonna let you all have a choice, because I've been playing a few video games this month. Because I don't think I'm too old for...
to be playing video games.
Super Carlton.
Super Henry Firth.
So I'll let you all choose. Would you like to most hear about Infamous, the original Infamous from PS3, Princess Peach Showtime, or Stellar Blade?
I'd say Stellar Blade.
I'd agree with that.
Okay, that's the one I'm least far in, but I can talk about it. Stellar Blade is pretty cool. It is kind of it's a little bit of a Souls-like and a little bit of a character action, Devil May Cry. And I know it's been kind of in the conversation for like years, but I was like, fuck it, you know? Like, I kind of randomly realized it was coming out, and I was like, we do not get a new, like, character action hack and slash all the time these days, so of course I'll buy it. And the clerk at GameStop gave me a funny look, and I was like, well, here we are. In Stellar Blade, the whole complaint people have about Stellar Blade is that the story is boring, to which I say, you know, we all played Bayonetta, right? I don't
think that's the whole complaint people have.
No, you're correct, and you know what? We'll cover that as well, is that Eve is very sexualized. Is that just the size of it, that Eve is very sexualized.
Basically, yeah.
I wish, about both the story and how sexualized Eve is, I just don't give a shit. Sorry.
It's really not as bad as people make it out to be. It's just like, people, I think, are so used to the whole safe horny thing that when they see actual horny pull up to the function, they get a little nervous.
Honestly, I don't know if I'm just... I don't know if I'm just desensitized in certain chunks of my brain. I, don't even find Eve, that sexy. It's not really... I wonder if it's just, she's so borderline naked that just kind of, leaves nothing to the imagination. But, that's not really a huge draw for me, and I'm a little surprised that this is where people clutch their fucking pearls about it.
It's really... It's spiraled out of control into some culture war bullshit, and there's very annoying people on both sides of the argument. But what else is new?
I'd say too...
Yeah, tell us about the gameplay, Tommy.
I'll tell you more about how, sure, Eve's butt cheeks swing back and forth as she climbs down a ladder. But, honestly, in some ways, I think 2B is perhaps more provocative than her. There's not much practical about the fucking ruffles around her cheeks.
Oh yeah, and didn't they when 2B was in Soul Calibur, they made a joke about looking up her skirt in her victory pose?
Yeah, the camera's looking up her ass, yeah. Anyway, I'm ready to move.
Doing it in here.
I'm ready to pass the topic back to Will. Okay, alright. Stellar Blade, it's pretty straightforward character action. Out of the way, there's a skill tree. Boo! But, you get heavy and light attacks, and I guess by combining the principles of character action with Souls-like, it's kind of a Souls-like that babies like me can brute force their way through. There is a parry, and you do need to kind of learn to manage that. But, I'm the bozo that rented Lies of P, and even that, I was kind of no thank you. And I'm able to hold my own relatively in this. So I think, and Will, I know you've had genuinely the challenge of finding, Elden Ring kind of hard to penetrate. I think this could be, a good gateway of, the training wheel Souls-like.
Yeah, is there a lot of, customization in this one, too?
Oh, yeah, you get to collect gear.
A
lot of outfits. You get to collect gear. You do kind of, level up and gain different skills. Eventually you get a gun. You get, different weapon bits. So, yeah, you get lots of options.
Cool. Yeah, I think I still need to get through Final Fantasy Rebirth, but I might try that a little bit after.
Yeah. It feels... I think Susie Hunter described this as feeling like a PS2 game, in that that's where people were just trying new IPs, and games could be cinematic on a different level, so it was always very melodramatic, and it took itself super seriously. But that kind of endears me about it. Like I said earlier, I just don't give a shit about the story. I think Eve herself is a neat hero, and I'd like to see her in PlayStation crossovers if they ever ball up and make another Battle Royale or whatever.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. But it's also I'm also someone, I could not summarize the story of any of the Bayonetta games if you ask me to. I think those characters are cool and great, and those games are cool and great, but I'm not I know what's going on here. It's kind of gobbledygook. And it's a game. I don't need to understand the story inside and out. I am chopping up these gross homunculi. There's, two different kinds. There's blink attacks where if you dodge at the right time, Eve kind of witch times and skates behind the character, and it feels godlike because you're just completely ambushing them. There's a little bit of Metal Gear Revengeance too, in that you're picking up little I can't remember what they call them in the games, but it's power sources, and I feel Raiden, there was that weird tactileness with Raiden where he's always collecting power sources. Ooh, you know what? Underrated topic of discussion. This game has a very good save zone. Eve comes across a little like a boom, not a boombox, sorry, a jukebox, but like an old style one. She picks up a quarter, kind of flips it, puts it in. She puts her fucking legs up on like a fold out chair, gets to relax for a second. Your health and your resources replenish. It's like, oh baby, that's a save zone. Top 10 save zones for sure.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. Will, favorite save? Sorry.
I agree. Sorry, I agree with what you were kind of saying about the character action PS2 era things, because like I feel like PlayStation especially desperately needs to return to that sort of mindset of developing games where not everything needs to be the gigantic, huge, high-fidelity release and then nothing else for 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, them shutting down Japan Studios so we're not getting more like Gravity Rush games was just such a huge mistake. But something like this, which is, you know, not necessarily low budget, but kind of a little bit middle to high, I think they need to be making more stuff like this because it's just interesting to see some risks being taken.
Totally, yeah, I do. I miss when, we got PS2 games that were these indecipherable JRPG protagonists fighting a crowd of stupid-looking enemies in, like, a Nibelheim knockoff. I want more of that.
Just more games in general. PlayStation 5 is just... one game.
Yeah.
The whole... but it's basically true. It needs more.
Fuck yeah. Golly. I guess that's pretty much all there is. I'm not super far into Stellar Blade right now. There's some really cool looking set pieces. I know at some point Eve gets on like a futuristic surfboard through like an air tunnel and does like a Sonic the Hedgehog shit. I'm really excited for that. We'll see how it goes. I hope this year's just been like really dry for games. Because I feel, isn't it? What did Sony say? They're like, yeah, PS5 is kind of done already.
Well, they basically said that there weren't going to be any more first-party releases this year.
Oh, this year.
Like,
okay.
They only make like a new first-party release every 1.5 to 2 years. So sometimes there are just years where nothing happens. Yeah.
Man, yeah. No, this year for games is like fucking dry as a bone. But there's, I guess there could be, because are we expecting like what, a summer direct, or is this like Switch just winding down too much that it's all going to be Switch 2? Do we think?
I'm sure we'll get like a summer direct. I think there's just because I don't think we're getting 4 directs this year like usual.
Yeah.
I think it's only going to be like 2, maybe 3. But I'm pretty sure the next console is going to be announced either this summer or fall, and then it's going to come out like spring next year.
And we'll get the 3 or so games that take the Switch out to pasture, and 1 or 2 of those are also going to launch for the next console, is my prediction.
I'm hoping it launches with a 3D Mario, but we can talk more about this in the news section, because there's, I guess, some new things to talk about there.
Right, some leaks, right?
Leaks, rumors, these apparently are very substantiated, so we'll see.
Alright, yeah, we'll save that. I'll move on from Stellar Blade now, because we have much to discuss. I like it, though. I dig it. Early on. Will, take it away. Don't let me talk anymore about Eve's ass cheeks.
Okay, so next up I will do another toast. I'll do another toast. I will go ahead and toast this series I've been watching during my breaks at work called Behind the Attraction. It's a show on Disney Plus about, Disneyland, World, all that attractions. And as y'all know, I am very into Disney attractions and like the history behind them and such. And I feel like this series was really well made. It's one of those documentaries that's informative but also very entertaining. They do episodes sometimes just on rides, so they've done Space Mountain and Big Thunder and Haunted Mansion, Indiana Jones, all that. But then they've also done stuff on general Disney stuff, like the castles themselves, or the food at the parks. And it's really cool to, like, learn these facts. Like, I know, Disney parks are kind of an experience, and I feel like their history contributes to the enjoyment, at least for me. Like, I really enjoy, going past a ride and being like, oh, hey, did you know this? But it is, like, there's not much to say outside that, like, it's the narrator for it. I can't remember her name, but she's really good. The facts that they, like, show about the ride are good. And, like, they cut super deep. There's, like, stuff that, like, back in the day when I was, like, really into Disney facts, I would, like, look up on Haunted Mansion behindthescenes.com and scroll to, like, the 75th page to find out. And, like, in this, it just kind of, like, talks about that stuff, so I feel like it is very comprehensive. You learn stuff that's like, oh, Walt Disney was, like, oddly obsessed with transportation, and that he almost had a deal with the city of Los Angeles to put a monorail in the city, but because of all the, like, lobbyists in the vehicle industry, he couldn't. Which is, like,
Makes sense.
It's an interesting fact about the monorail, but it's also just kind of an interesting fact in general. Like, you don't... opinions about, like, the people they were aside, you don't quite realize how fucking influential Disneyland was, and, like, everything that involved Disneyland was. Like, I also learned they did an episode on the Disney Hotel, which I was like, this is going to be boring as fuck. Who wants to learn about a hotel? But they bring up the fact that,
there's 5 bodies in the basement.
No, they bring up the fact that before the Disneyland Hotel, hotels were kind of just used for, like, traveling businessmen. Like, there wasn't really any, like, hotels for pleasure to, like, take the family to on vacation. The Disneyland Hotel pretty much started that industry. Isn't that fucking insane?
Actually, yeah, I actually never thought of it that way. That is pretty fascinating.
Yeah, and, like, how, Disney basically, like, they created audio animatronics, but, like, they also kind of created the theme park industry. Like, everything at the time was kind of like a carnival, but, like, Disneyland was the first true theme park, And there are, like, episodes that are a bit more boring than the rest. But I think, like, as a whole, the 2 seasons that the show has is really cool.
Is it sanctioned by Disney, or...
It's on Disney Plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you, I guess I'm just trying to play devil's advocate a little, because it's clear you like this. Do you ever feel the perspective from Disney ever sheds too much bias on it?
I going in there, I did definitely think that it would be a lot heavier than it was. They do, like, talk about how Michael Eisner was a genius. That's like, no, he's fucking genius. But it's just, like, kind of offhandedly. I feel like it's not enough to, like, make it like, oh, this is just propaganda. Like, it is more history, but I'm guessing that, like, when they brought up, like, someone who is still living, they had to be like, okay, say something good about him.
Well, it is good that you get... First-hand accounts are still really important, because you get information you might not get from, like, a critical outside angle.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And it is, I kind of didn't realize till you started taking me to Disneyland recently that the concept of Disneyland was, like, it's like a World's Fair, I guess. Like, it's Walt Disney's ideal... before there's a lot of, like, movie-related rides, it was kind of like Walt Disney's, there should be a train everywhere, and there should be... What if there was a Matterhorn? I don't... Sorry.
Honestly.
Yeah,
I was gonna
yeah.
say honestly, yeah.
Which I feel like I'm saying something. I just kind of, you always, like, the aspects of Disney that get parodied all the time are like, oh, whenever there's the character costumes and everything's based on a movie. Whereas it is like just Walt Disney's idea of how the world should be. And you know what? With inflation going the way it is and food prices, I think he's got it.
We just needed a monorail.
Yeah.
Any public transportation, I'm begging you, please.
That does sound
Speaking
cool.
of public...
Sorry.
Oh, that was... No, go ahead.
So do they have one just like for each ride, or do they cover their bases pretty well?
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna, like, do another season, but right now they've got, like, Haunted Mansion, Jungle Cruise, Big Thunder, Space Mountain, Indiana Jones Adventure. The Star Tours one is really interesting, too.
I say, I'll have to. Yeah, Star Tour does make me pretty curious, because I like that one a lot.
Yeah, people lined up for that ride opening, like, the opening day of it for, like, 4 hours.
Jesus. Wait, is that the one?
Sick.
Is that the one with Holdo? Star
No,
Tours? No, it's the one
Tours
with...
is the one in Tomorrowland.
Okay, sorry. Is it the one with C-3PO? That's like the virtual reality?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, I guess with that said, I shall pass it over to Dav.
Alright, time for a toast of a little movie called Robot Dreams, directed by Pablo Berger. This is a French-Spanish movie that doesn't have any dialogue, so it doesn't really have any need for subtitles, especially because it takes place in 1980s Manhattan. Most of the characters they're either going to be animals or a few robots. It's kind of almost like a BoJack Horseman kind of universe where you have all these bipedal animals that are just kind of going about regular, ordinary life. And the main character is a dog who is just very lonely, so he decides to order a robot to build as his friend, and they kind of develop this friendship, and one day while they're at the beach, robot rusts over and cannot move, and the beach closes right then until basically next year, so dog just kind of spends a lot of time anxiously waiting for that moment so he can go break in and get robot out, and kind of over time their lives sort of go in different directions, and that's the basic premise of the movie. I think it's a really good, heartfelt, and honestly very well animated and just a great art style. So I very much enjoyed it, watching it at kind of a special screening in theaters, but I think it is getting a wider release very soon.
End of May or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great when the Twin Towers showed up.
Yeah, lots of shots of the Twin Towers.
Because it takes place in the 80s.
Yeah, it's in the 80s.
I like that that's not, like, all that it's about. It's just, like, you know, a nice intentional detail.
Yeah, just kind of a neat little period piece. It's not going to, like, crazy 80s nostalgia or anything. It's just kind of happens to take place then, and it's kind of a good reflection of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this movie was, like, a vibe and a half. And, like, you know, you mentioned, he rusts over and he's stuck on the beach. But, like, for such, you know, that grown man getting excited about cartoons here, it is kind of neat how it's, like, such an outlandish situation of a robot rusting and being stuck on a beach behind a fence, when it's truly, at its core, about two friends drifting apart the way really is inevitable with any two people that have any kind of relationship. And it's like, you know, it has, as trippy as we make it sound, it is at its core extreme, like just nothing short of universal as far as its narrative goes.
Yeah, it's very applicable to just a wide range of relationships.
I really,
Be romantic or platonic, honestly.
yeah, exactly. Because you could read it really either way. I liked when the dog tells the robot that to win back his affections, he has to win a tennis game. And, like, there's a lot of, like, sexual tension, manipulation about the tennis game.
Oh, Jesus, German.
And the dog and the robot, like, kiss Zendaya on the neck, and she's like, go play tennis.
Yeah, just Zendaya, who was just there as herself.
Live action. Hey guys, it's me, Zendaya.
No, yeah, this movie was just very fun. There's a lot of good things they do with the whole fact that it is 2D animation. Just a lot of just fun moments and kind of a roller coaster of emotions, and I think you can kind of read the ending in a lot of different ways, and there's a lot of different ways to interpret it, and overall it also kind of appeals to a wide age demographic. It feels very mature and adult a lot of the time, but it's also something I could definitely see kids enjoying just for, like, the art style. And some of the gags in it are honestly just pretty funny.
Yeah. It can be enjoyed truly by all ages. I could see this being a future generation thing where the podcast I'm listening to says, I showed my 6-year-old robot dreams, and they don't know why I was crying, but I was.
The 6-year-old was like, put on Skibbity Toilet!
Yeah, that's, well, I mean, even kids today, I feel like, aren't going to be as drawn to this, because it's not, like, a 3D CG Disney movie.
You know...
Doesn't have Subway Surfers gameplay on the side.
I do, what restores my faith in humanity is, in one of my teaching positions, we read the Sherlock Holmes books, and as a culmination to that unit, I was going to show my class The Great Mouse Detective. And, you know, I had students who were like in 5th grade, so they're like 11, kind of wanting to look all tough and grown up, and they're like, they see me pull up Disney Plus, they're like, no, put on a Marvel, put on Black Panther, and then I put on Great Mouse Detective, and they are fucking hypnotized. And I was like, yes! Classic 80s animation. Doc could have watched Great Mouse Detective, because it was the 80s.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, good, well-done animation is just kind of universal. You know, kids will just kind of have to appreciate it because it is good and it was, like, made to entertain children, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, check this out if it gets a wider release. I'm not exactly... Check out the Enclosed Instruction book. Because it's a great movie, and I love when just this unique premise and a 2D animated film comes out. It's kind of just not very common anymore, so... with that, I will hand it back to Tommy.
Okay, what should I talk about? Sorry, I've got Okay. I think I was having a hard time. I saw a lot of things that were mildly interesting enough to talk about. I was having a hard time making up my mind. I think I owe it to the culture to talk about The People's Joker. For the uninitiated, do both of you, I'm sure I've info dumped on you on the scandal of The People's Joker, right?
Oh yeah, I've heard
of me, yeah.
Yeah. Well, for listeners at home who don't know, and Dav and Will are like, ugh, I gotta hear it again. So, The People's Joker opened, I think at Tribeca, another film festival film. It showed once, and the director, Vera Drew, immediately got a cease and desist from WB. Because it is her life story as a trans woman filtered through DC characters. It takes place in a Gotham City that is parallel to her experience moving to New York to be a comedian. So there are Joker men, who are male comedians, and Harlequins, who are female comedians. And this is her narrative of going, Joker to Harlequin, and becoming Joker the Harlequin, as she calls herself. It's been, so the legal red tape has been trimmed at for like 2 years. And I really like the interviews she does where she's like, obviously I knew to get this checked for copyright. And the fact that you're able to watch it is evidence to, that. And what really, and I saw this at the Alamo Drafthouse. I think a very small release window because it's kind of a small movie. You might have missed it if you're just now listening. I don't know if this is gonna be. I don't know if this is gonna be. Totally lost my train of thought. Super widely distributed, given all the drama around it. But I recommend it if you can track it down. I'm sure it's able to find it elsewhere. Vera Drew, in an opening interview, she went into detail about how she wanted to really exercise the mythical aspect of superheroes. Because she talks about how, superheroes are the modern myth, is what people say, but there's all this legal red tape around it. She wanted to prove you can truly bend and adapt these characters in a really wild way. So while a lot of the People's Joker is satire and it is parody of DC characters, her real mission statement was to adapt, actually. I think she would consider this more of an adaptation than a parody that's just not sanctioned or authorized by DC per se. Oh, that was a mouthful. I need another breath.
What did you say, Tommy?
That was a mouthful. I just need another breath. This isn't as... Sorry.
I think this brings up a good thing that kind of put me off from actually going out of my way to see this movie. It's like, I haven't heard much about it outside of the controversy, and I have, no clue what kind of movie I'd even be getting myself into going to watch this.
Okay, thank you for that segue. I can start to actually explain it now, because I was getting way caught in the weeds of the context. Thank you, David. This movie is... The best way I can describe it is that it's like a 90-minute Tim and Eric sketch in tone. I think Vera discusses how it was filmed during COVID, so instead of going out, they just did everything in front of a green screen. And I imagine there's some budgetary reasons for that too. Opening shots of this movie immediately invoked imagery. Do you both know what I'm talking about when I talk about the Family Guy Cuphead animations?
Yeah.
Those really bizarre, weird crossovers where all the characters are, moving weird and super uncanny. With Cuphead, the opening shots of this film invoke that. There is... Will, do you remember the cameo I texted you?
Fucking, insane.
Dav, should I spoil?
Sure.
The Joker baby is in this movie.
Well, that's just perfect.
Yeah. So, okay.
Did they get Melvin?
No, I don't think so. But it would not be out of her wheelhouse, I feel like. But this movie's a fucking trip. I saw it, I went to the theater publicly to see it, so I wasn't on any kind of substance. But I feel like on a substance, this would hit like a motherfucker. So it's, it's always in front of a green screen, so characters are always doing the walking in place when they're supposed to be walking, you know what I mean? Like a Channel Awesome sketch. And you would think that would look so fucking cheap and stupid, and it does, but you'd think it would be stupid. But the thing is, this movie is about an experience as a trans comedian, and how she wasn't accepted as she wanted to be by higher circles like SNL and UCB. So this movie is all about using the character of the Joker to rally against that status quo. You know, Joker's chaos being equivalent to wanting to tear down the status quo of, you know, hyper hacky professional corporate comedians. So Batman, like, it's his dream to host SNL because that's like the safest sanctum of comedy you can do. And Joker wants to like put trans people on SNL because that like confuses Lorne Michaels beyond reason. It's things. Am I painting any kind of picture here, or have I just gone into word vomit?
It still sounds insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
No, it's nuts. I think about 50% of the characters are bad-looking CGI models.
Oh my god.
No, and like, there's no delineation of this character's CGI, so it's just like, I feel like when they ran out of costume budget, they decided, okay, we didn't make the Poison Ivy costume yet, so that'll be a CGI, and it's not like, oh, it's meant to look good. It's like, it doesn't begin to have any pretense. The joke is that Poison Ivy and Lorne Michaels and other characters look like the CGI characters in the "You Cannot Beat Us" Nintendo commercial. Chunks of the film are also, it will randomly, you'll be watching one scene, and with the energy of a YouTube Reanimated collab, it'll move to the next scene, and it'll be animated with no... Only, like, it will be because I'm assuming they couldn't do actual fight scenes. So anytime it's about to be a fight scene, the characters are just hand-drawn now.
I wonder if this is, like, available to watch, because, like, I'd love to watch this tonight.
I'm sure it's...
probably on the usual website.
I'll join in, yeah. If we have time. I think, and I feel a little, the script and writing is genuinely really fucking solid. Like, despite the set dressing of the character is the Joker, and there's like a CGI Nicole Kidman looking down at her at one point, the dialogue is just that of like a sometimes really touching, sometimes really harrowing story of two lovers figuring out their identities. And I'm not trans personally, but as a cis person, I could watch this, and I don't want to dictate, you will like this if you are trans, viewer, but something about the dialogue spoke to me and fuck. Something about the dialogue really spoke to me as a viewer to kind of... I guess there was eye-opening aspects to an experience I haven't had in that regard. The People's Joker. It's like, I don't want to claim this as like a Tommy movie, because it is... I give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's... I can say this without doubt, it is one of the most unique films I've ever seen. And it's not fake. It is, you know what? Dix the Musical is looking down shamefully as real Dadaism and visual surrealism walks into the club. And it's the People's Joker.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not one of the big Tommy movies, the way, I don't know,
The Soho one is?
yeah. Last Night in Soho of the year, but I think everyone should at least try it. I can't promise if you'll like it. Everyone should try it. Back to Will.
Alright. Time to talk about Peter Capaldi and Doctor Who. Peter Capaldi is the greatest actor to play Doctor Who, in my opinion. He came off the coattails of Matt Smith, and he had 3 seasons, which I watched, and I think it's possibly the best incarnation of the character. I feel like at the beginning, kind of an asshole, just like a jerk with no filter, and like he's a bit selfish. But I feel like, unlike a lot of the other seasons, this Doctor actually learned something. Like his journey to, from series 9 to 11, he's pretty much like learned how to be good again, and I think that's a really like cool moment. There are a lot of insane moments in his series, possibly the pinnacle of which is the episode Heaven Sent, which is, as far as I know, the only episode of Doctor Who in which the Doctor is the only character. So it is basically a 45-minute long Peter Capaldi monologue and a reflection on the type of man the Doctor is. And it is fucking insane.
Yeah, that sounds fucking tight.
Yeah, it is. I feel like even if you're not like big into Doctor Who, you can appreciate where they take the character. He's and like unlike a lot of the other Doctors, he's like where like I love David Tennant, but when David Tennant's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fuck y'all up," it's like, no, you're not. You're fucking David Tennant. But with like when Peter Capaldi like looks at someone with his fucking like Peter Capaldi ass eyebrows and says, "If you don't save her, I will annihilate your entire village," it's just, he's so fucking good at playing this role. I don't think there's like a single episode where that it's like, oh man, that was very good. And it's kind of like it's hard to confront because like it's near the end of the latest Doctor Who run, so that like you can't have him forever. But like because this version of the Doctor has grown so much over the series, it's hard to like let him go more especially than others, because it's like this isn't a Doctor who was like he started as Matt Smith, he went to the end and he was Matt Smith. This was a Doctor who started as like this complete total douchebag, and by the end, just as he's finally learning his final lesson, you lose him because he regenerates. And honestly, I feel like that's a genius fucking choice. I feel like it makes the time with his Doctor all the more precious,
Sorry. Absolutely. Yeah, so he's... I might be off track. Is he like kind of a darker Doctor than a lot of the others, and he has to overcome that?
But he's also, like, he has his funny moments. You know how he's got a sonic screwdriver?
Yeah.
In his season, he has sonic sunglasses.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that fucking rocks.
That sounds like a bit that you just made up. It's real.
No, when he gets introduced wearing the sonic sunglasses?
How?
In a scene where the Doctor is riding out into a gladiator's arena on a tank, playing Beethoven's Fifth on electric guitar.
What?
And it's the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Jesus, okay, now this I might actually, I know I say I'll watch Doctor Who, but that's fucking...
This is convincing you to give it a chance, sure?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah,
and sorry, go on.
No, what were you gonna say?
I don't know. My thoughts are spaghetti. I'm kind of all over. You go ahead, Will.
I getcha. I just think like Peter Capaldi is such a profound and like incredible actor, and like I feel like his kind of classic approach to the Doctor was especially like welcome because before that you've got David Tennant and Matt Smith, so, like, having a doctor that is older, I thought was a really good idea to spice things up, and especially a doctor who is, like, kind of lost, like, his hope. He's angry at seemingly everyone, and he's horrible to people, only to lose them the next day, and he has to, like, deal with the fact that he'll never get them back, but that doesn't mean that he can stop saving the people who are left. Absolutely incredible character work.
Man, that does, yeah, no, that's, yeah, that's fucking bananas.
Yeah, I kind of stopped watching Doctor Who a little bit into 11, and I think I still remember when 12 was, like, starting, and I was kind of on Tumblr at the time, so I was hearing a lot of complaints because he's no longer a Tumblr sexy man. They went back to having an older actor play the Doctor, and that always kind of interested me to see how they would do that in the modern day, but sounds like they did pretty good with it.
Yeah, if y'all want, maybe at one of the hangouts we can watch an episode or two of Capaldi's Doctor Who.
Totally.
Anyways, with that, I should doctor a segue. Alright, Dave, it's your turn.
Okay. You know what doesn't make me chuckle?
Oh no!
Today, I finished the series Knuckles. And you know, I gotta say, as someone who liked the first two Sonic the Hedgehog movies quite a bit, and has been looking forward to the third one, this makes me kind of not look forward to the third one as much. This show sucks ass, and for the most part, it's like so boring that, like, I wouldn't even know what to compare it to, because weird shit will happen, but it's got that sort of writing to the dialogue and stuff that makes it just obnoxious. And Knuckles is not in it very much, to be honest.
I was wondering if people were exaggerating when they were saying he was barely in it.
He's really not in it very much. There's, like, entire episodes that go by where he's just, like, they'll say he's, like, in a hotel room or something, and then sometimes somebody will, like, pop their head into the hotel room, but you don't see the inside of the room, and he'll just be like, hey, just checking on you or something, and then it'll go back to the plot.
Oh, that sucks.
Because this show mostly spotlights the character of Wade Whipple.
What a fucking awful name.
Awful name, awful character. He's so unfunny.
I like that actor. He's in a lot of UCB adjacent podcasts and shows that I really like, and he's usually pretty terrific, but I imagine that it's the material hindering him a good deal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, for some reason, the main story revolves mostly around Wade trying to win a bowling tourney so that he can one-up his father who abandoned him at a TJ Maxx.
What the fuck?
A famous bowler played by Carrie Elwes.
See, I saw, like, a character poster for him, and I was like, is he playing some kind of, like, stylized villain? Like, but he's just, like, a bowler?
He's a very famous bowler. And he taught Wade how to bowl.
What the fuck?
Before abandoning him. And everybody says that he has a fake accent, and it's never ever revealed if it is, because he just does the same accent the whole time. It's a very strange, like, ongoing thing with him about his accent being fake.
That's a very odd, like, joke to do.
Yeah. This sounds more fucking, bizarre than anything, honestly.
It's truly bizarre. there's an episode where, like, the entire last half is just a musical. Like, very reminiscent of, like, Herald of Darkness and Alan Wake 2. It's just, like, describing the story of Knuckles, but Wade is dressed in a Knuckles costume.
And, like
running through a cardboard version of Green Hill Zone.
Right.
It's really weird.
That is super fucking strange.
What was the thing in the last episode that Tommy, you said that, like, people were mad about?
Do you know what that would be, Dav?
What people were mad about?
People were, like, vague posting, oh, the post-credit scene made me lose my mind with rage, or whatever.
The only thing that happens in the post-credit scene is Knuckles says that the opening title sequence theme for the show, the song that they were using he says it's his favorite song.
What? I saw the opening on Twitter. That kind of went a little bit hard. The I Am the Warrior.
Yeah, I think because at the beginning he doesn't really know what music is, and that's kind of part of his character arc, is he decides that is his favorite song.
See, okay, that explains. I saw someone made an edit where they're like, it should have gone like this, and he puts on the Knuckles theme from Sonic Adventure 2. Which I'll say, that game is full of fucking bopping character theme songs. That might be the best one. I don't disagree.
I feel like this series technically references Sonic 06 the most out of any Sonic material.
Because, like, Iblis is there, right?
Iblis is there, Knuckles gets the Flames of Destruction or whatever they're called, and that's how he wins at the end.
Is there, like, any other character besides that shows up?
Sonic and Tails show up for, like, 10 minutes in the first episode.
And then there's, like, an Echidna Elder in the bowling alley. He's from the games.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd plays the ghost of, like, one of the elders from Knuckles' tribe.
Yeah.
He's not in it a whole lot. He's like in maybe 2 episodes, but yeah, I guess that's something. The effects are not terrible, like they're not much worse than the movie, but it's...
I was gonna say, it looked like they at least had some budget in that regard.
Yeah, and honestly, there's weirder stuff they do with Knuckles than the fucking... the favorite song thing. Like, when Knuckles goes to Wade's house, they make it, like, very clear that the family is Jewish, and they do, like, a Shabbat dinner, and, like, one of the shots is just, like, the family praying around Shabbat candles, and Knuckles is standing to the left, and it just looks like a DeviantArt shit.
It's giving, like, those pictures people will draw of, like, cartoon characters seeing 9/11 on TV, you know? Like a couch, and it's...
has passed away.
It's a couch, it's Mewtwo, Shadow the Hedgehog, Muscle Man going, oh no, bro!
No, bro. It really feels like that. The worst character is Wade's sister. She's like an FBI agent, and every single thing she says and does is just annoying.
Yeah, I think I saw the do not harass this actor post going around. I'm like, oh, it's bad.
That makes sense, yeah. That feels very necessary, because this is one of those, like, you know, sort of female characters who is annoying that, like, a lot of ridoids would probably latch onto.
You know what? Here's what I have to say. A new season of Velma dropped this same weekend, and I've seen more people bitching about Knuckles, which is kind of insane.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'd rather people watch Knuckles than even hate watch Velma. We need to just... That show needs to end.
Yeah. It might have, by the sound of it.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. I don't want to even hear about that show anymore.
Kinda me neither.
So yeah, I guess watch the Knuckles show if you want to see a Rocky, but with bowling instead of boxing.
You know what there's not enough movies about?
Huh.
Dog sledding.
Dog sledding?
Yeah. Because you said
Is this your segue into what you're toasting or roasting?
No, just the way Dav said, like, Rocky with bowling, and I'd be like, are there many movies about bowling? There should be more movies about dog sledding. That's a good top, is, like, sports that don't have enough movies about them.
I don't typically enjoy sports movies, so I don't really care.
Oh, you enjoyed one this weekend, buddy.
Yeah, but that was like, they did good stuff with that.
But no, I'm joking, like, you enjoyed it, buddy boy.
Anyway, don't watch Knuckles, it won't make you the chuckles. Just wait for Sonic 3 so that you don't... I mean, this genuinely does not add anything to the story. You don't need to watch it, almost certainly.
That's a relief to hear.
Yeah.
Well, and there's more Sonic stuff, but that's in my news notes. Should we just wait till then?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
Because the Paramount was at Movie CinemaCon. We'll get to it then. Before I'm gonna grab a cherry Coke before we go any further. I just need one of my mini cans. Ugh.
All right.
Shooting at the walls of heartache, bang bang.
Oh, Jesus. Daffy, are you Spider-Man?
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna see Spider-Man 3.
Well, sorry, Jay. He is like singing a song.
It's the Knuckles theme song. Man, either that's going to be everybody's favorite part of the podcast, or it's not going in. I'll find out tomorrow.
Anyways, I'm gonna pass it on to Tommy.
Alright, let me see. What other options did I have? I guess I'll talk about Infamous, because I mentioned I was playing that as well. And whenever I'm in between new releases, I kind of put on, I kind of put on my badge, which is game nostalgia check force, in that it is my job and solemn duty to try games that people are nostalgic for and people seem to mostly know from crossovers and see, hey, was it actually good on its own? And I kind of did that with Jet Set Radio. The answer for the first one is no, as you learned. I'm trying out Infamous, the original on the PlayStation. And this game gives off the big energy of, oh, I bet the sequel for this is great. You know? This was like an early PS3 headliner, when the PS3 had about as many games as the PS5, but I think makes the PS5 look downright starving at this point. We didn't know how good we had it. Infamous is an adventure game that feels kind of caught between genres in kind of a messy way. It's like vaguely kind of a shooter with electricity and a character action and like Uncharted-like adventure game almost. But for like all that baggage, I think it's pretty fucking cool, honestly. I feel like what people don't always acknowledge is that Cole McGrath is like a little bit of a Spider-Man in that you do a lot of climbing and like looming over the city and going between buildings with him. You know, I feel like he's usually written off as just like an edgy video game boy, but he's like kind of a Spider-Man. He's kind of an adventurer, even though his personality is he is indeed dark and down here and, oh, I have demons. it is the kind of game that, you'll get more abilities as you progress. Cole is this super mutant. After a big comic book superhero power event, meteor hits the Earth or whatever. I'm kind of having a hard time with the story, but it is much more comprehensible than Stellar played, because there is some element where Cole has amnesia that I'm, like, not quite wrapping my head around. I must have missed something. But, I think the other thing that just hasn't aged super well about this game is the enemies. You fight guys with guns a lot, and Cole is a marshmallow who can only take a few bullets. He gets hurt, and he does my least favorite PlayStation 3 era thing where your character doesn't have a life bar, but he's gonna, like, go, and, like, the screen will turn black and white, so you know that you've taken damage. Like, give me a goddamn life bar. Fucking A. And so, you're kind of... It kind of just sucks when it's, like, an action game where you're dodging bullets. It's just guys are opening fire on you and you've got to take them out first or roll out a fucking way of fire. You're not, like, parrying. Cole doesn't really have, like, a... I bet there's a shield ability or something down the line, but it's much more... I can't call it an action game, really, because that would imply Cole is, like, dodging in close combat when it's, like... It's kind of a shooter that way. The combat is very lost that way, because, even though Cole has melee attacks and he moves like a Sly Cooper almost, because it's the same studio, you go in super close and, like, fire off electricity like it's a gun. So it's very confused that way. I think... I still see why it, like, made some impact and is even cool on its own. It has the morality system where you're actually making some fucking choices. Like, sometimes you get lame ones that are like Cole saying, I wonder how... Cole will come across a guy putting up posters of him, and he'll be like, should I put up the posters that make me look like a hero or a villain and be feared? But there's genuine choices like, Cole can make a choice that protects civilians but hurts him. Like, you can avoid taking damage from something that saps your power before an oncoming boss fight if you actually make a morally evil choice. And I feel like that's an easy thing to fuck up, is that the famous thing is, oh, the moral choice doesn't actually change the gameplay. And this one doesn't do it 100%, but it looks for those small ways. And I can see how that really placed it in the PS3 era zeitgeist, especially. So it's very, very rough around the edges, but the ideas are there, and it's absolutely playable and fun enough that, like, I could see a real classic in the sequel that I want to do after I'm done with this one.
Always, Oh, sorry, go ahead, Dev.
I was probably going to say exactly what you were going to say, just I've always kind of been interested in this title, but I've never gotten around to playing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Cole's weird, like, tuning fork weapon, if I'm remembering correctly.
The amp, yeah.
Yeah, I think the design is really cool, and, it's just like, it is one of those, like, just simple designs that kind of tells a lot about the character. So, was this on PS4 or PS5?
PS5 via PlayStation Plus. So I'm streaming the PS3 version.
Okay, that's the one that lets you play online, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta get my money's worth for the... I'm scared to find out how much I'm paying, because I think there was just a big price hike.
For PS Plus?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I abandoned that years ago. It was getting way too expensive, and it's honestly not worth it compared to something like Xbox Game Pass. If you really want, like, a subscription service. I do. The grass is much greener. I have sworn I'm within the pyramid that I am, Nintendo and Sony, for the hope that one of my weird nostalgic IPs comes back, and Xbox I can get on PC if I want to. But the grass is looking much greener for Xbox players at the moment. Yeah, and like Will said, it's one of those simple but effective designs that he can kind of,
these days, he looks pretty quaint. He's just a skinhead-looking guy in his 20s or so, but, like, that's almost a design distinct enough that I would kill for it as the main character of, like, a new IP today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Alright. I think I settled. I feel like have I only gotten started, or have I gotten way too long?
No, I feel like that pretty much covers it.
Great. Let's do news. First off, I'm right? We did 3. It's time for the news. Nothing else to cover.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Well, CinemaCon was this month, and I took notes. I was on a small forum of friends and was like, oh, maybe they want to know what's on CinemaCon. I'm kind of the only one who cared. But I have the notes for this podcast, he said, a tear rolling down his cheek.
All right.
All right, let me pull up my notes here. Okay, here we go. So, CinemaCon opened with... there was a few standalone trailers. We finally got the trailer for Maxine, which I'm excited for. I think I gotta show you Pearl and X-Stav, so I think that'll be my next movie night, is to give you the context for Maxine, so you two can be in on this historic film event of the summer.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Warner Brothers Showcase. Long look at Furiosa. Everyone's saying it's good. I'll take my $5, please. First trailer for Trap. Did you guys get a load of this one?
I don't think so.
I did.
Oh. I almost want to show it to you blind and get your reactions. Because it's the new M. Night, and it very much has his voice. Should we do that?
I think I have heard of this.
The one at the concert?
Concert or something, right? Yeah.
But did you watch the trailer?
Not, like, all the way through, but I have heard that they don't, like, spoil anything. It just kind of sets things up, which is nice.
Will, can I get your reaction? I don't know if it's actually that cool an idea. I'll just explain it. I'm probably just being silly. Trap it's the new M. Night movie. The trailer is kind of a ride because it opens with this guy, it's Josh Hartnett, taking his daughter to a concert, and it's a made-up pop star named Lady Raven, who's like vaguely Dua Lipa and vaguely Kesha. And, she's singing, the daughter's like, it's the best day of my life, these seats are amazing, I love you, Dad. And Dad's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. He gets up. He goes to find the restroom of the venue, and he notices there's, like, police cars outside. He's kind of like, And he finds a vendor at, like, a t-shirt booth. He's like, hey, can you help me understand what's going on here? Is everything all right? And the vendor gets real hush-hush. He goes, look, I'm not supposed to tell anyone, but, the butcher, the killer who's been chopping people up, the police got a reliable tip. He's going to be here tonight, and this concert is a trap. The dad takes this in. Then he goes to the bathroom, and he opens his phone, and there's surveillance feed of someone tied up in his basement, because he's the butcher.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
So M. Night gives a twist in the trailer, but, like, there's gotta be, like, what's the twist beyond that? I'm kind of like, what the fuck is the daughter the butcher? What the hell? Like, there's no way they're gonna... Sorry?
I am surprisingly looking forward to this because I don't usually like M. Night's work. Like, Split was pretty good, but I don't really care for him outside of that. But this is an interesting enough concept, I think, to reel me back in.
I really like when M. Night kind of thinks he's parodying pop culture, because, like, I think in Old, the rapper all the kids love is named Midsize Sedan. And he has this very specific voice that's really corny, but, like, funny in that way, and I think he's a little bit in on it. And so the idea of him doing an entire thing at a pop star concert, like, probably filled with influencers and business people, it's like, I feel like it's going to be a bunch of, like, mid-sized sedan moments that I'm really excited for.
Mid-sized sedan moment.
He's very Kojima, like if Kojima actually made movies.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So that's coming in August. James Gunn fucking talked more about Am I the only one getting kind of pissed off that he's talking so much about Superman?
Yeah.
Kind of getting old.
It's like, let us just see the fucking movie. Let us be surprised. I like the guy. I like his work. But, like, shut the fuck up and just make Superman.
Every week he's like, this is a Superman-focused movie. And by the way, Florble the Dingus will appear.
What's really funny about that is that I was about to be like, nuh-uh, it's Metamorpho. Like, that's better.
Very sloppy way to start your cinematic universe, I think.
Yeah.
Trying to go so big with it.
His eyes are...
It's like,
Sorry.
The MCU and the Monsterverse, I think, are both kind of the strongest cinematic universes going right now, and it's because they both started with, like, one character.
Uh-huh. I'm excited to see Nicholas Hoult, Lex Luthor, though.
That'll be interesting, yeah. I kind of like that casting decision.
So they got to look at Horizon, an American Saga, which is Kevin Costner's, like, insane passion project that's just this big-ass cowboy movie that's split into parts. And we're getting parts 1 and 2, I think, in June and August. And he wants to make it, like, 6 parts total, I think.
Jesus Christ.
It's like, so it's this weird, I don't know, like, part 1, part 2 already pisses me off. Like, make a long movie or just make it a sequel. Like, differentiate it enough. But, like, the way it's 6 parts makes me feel like he's, like, weirdly cross-sectioning film and TV. I guess we'll see how it turns out. If it feels that way, it's gonna feel really cheap.
Giving a Rebel Moon.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Okay, this shocked me. They gave a look at Mickey 17, which I thought they were never gonna mention until the delayed January date, because why would you draw attention to the movie you just delayed? We don't have a look online yet, sadly. There was apparently a trailer cut that we're not gonna get for fucking months. And it apparently looks good. It's apparently a little more of a comedy than I at least thought. It's a little more goofy about Robert Pattinson going on literal suicide missions and getting killed, but then there's a clone of him. So 2 of his clones run off and they're like Mickey 17 and Mickey 18.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds fun.
They got to look at Beetlejuice, and they, you know, the practical effect allegations are still not being beat per se. Like, by the sound of it, there's cool stuff, but I'll believe it when I see it. That's just me.
Yeah, I have no idea how to feel about that. It's not necessarily all that interesting to me, to be honest.
The first Beetlejuice a lot, but I'm not sure we needed a second one.
If it truly is practical effects, I'll be impressed. And then, so Warner's big coup de grace was Joker Folie à Deux. You know what? Everyone knows how I feel about Joker. Joker pilled friends in the room. What do you think?
I think it just kind of looks like a rehash of the original.
Mm-hmm.
It really does.
I don't think it looks interesting in the slightest.
Yeah, it's, I mean, if they were gonna make more of this Joker, I would have actually wanted to see him being Joker. This just feels like, oh, somehow the American mental health care system is actually working for this guy, so we just need to introduce a bad bitch into his life to turn it back into the Joker.
That's true, yeah. I'll probably be, like, entertained by the musical numbers, the little theater kid in me, but, like, I don't see myself calling this my favorite. Lionsgate. Let's. Okay, Highlander remake directed by Chad Stahelski. That sounds pretty fucking cool.
Could be.
Yeah. A live action Naruto movie.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck that.
Now You See Me 3, which I don't know why they're not calling it Now You 3 Me. I'm rewatching those because for the third one to see they're the stupidest films ever made, and that is a compliment.
Yeah, they're pretty dumb.
Remake of Blair Witch that has some controversy around it. Live action Monopoly movie produced by Margot Robbie. The Crow is delayed to August because everyone hated the trailer. I guess I'll try and go a little faster. This is taking longer than I thought. Ballerina is also delayed, like, into next... Did we talk about Ballerina getting delayed?
I don't think so.
No, but it doesn't surprise me.
What's good news is that Chad Stahelski is directly stepping in to make it more John Wicky. I think it falling out of his hands is kind of the thing, which I think, is that also the case for the Continental? And maybe explains a lot about it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And their big thing is Michael, which is the Michael Jackson biopic that I think everyone will be normal about. All right. Universal, pretty short one. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, of course. And apparently a look at Wicked that people are liking. We can move on. So I'm reading through it just so I don't miss anything. I don't necessarily... Just stop me if we wanna, because this is going a little longer. Paramount gave a look at If. Oh, okay, I do want to talk about this. Edgar Wright is going to direct a remake of The Running Man for Paramount.
Okay, that is extremely exciting.
Yeah, Glenn Powell is starring.
Oh, that's really exciting.
Yeah, that sounds fucking good. Ridley Scott is making a Bee Gees movie, G.I. Joe Transformers crossover. Damien Chazelle is out of director jail, also making a film. We love to... Okay, fine, a trailer, something of actual substance. We got the trailer for Transformers 1. Will, you had strong...
Awful. It looks so fucking bad.
Tell us why.
Yeah, that looks pretty lame.
Because it's, like... It's from the fucking 2000s. There's like a million MCU-ass, that sounded better in my head jokes. And by blank, I mean blank.
I think I knew about the premise of this being a fully animated Transformers movie, and I got scared. What I pictured was, oh no, it's going to be like the really busy Michael Bay designs, just without cutting to humans. So I think the relief I felt that it's an actual animated film kind of overtook how negatively I would feel about the dialogue, because I agree it's really terrible, but something about it being a full-hearted Transformers animation makes me want to give it a shot. I like the kind of retro-looking character designs. We're like one step closer to returning to Orson Welles as Unicron, you know?
But yeah.
Aang the Last Airbender, Smurfs, and SpongeBob all getting movies.
Awesome.
SpongeBob on the same day as Avatar 3, I should say, as well.
Huh.
Next...
So when is that?
Next December, not 2025.
December 2025?
Yeah.
I wonder, because I remember that SpongeBob Sandy Cheeks movie leaked in full on Twitter like a couple months ago. I wonder if that's a different thing.
It's a different one, because that's something like Sandy to the Rescue, and this one is called The Search for SpongeBob.
Oh.
So they're two different ones.
Almost like an existential, like, character piece.
We gotta get SpongeBob back! Smile 2, alright. Gladiator 2 looks pretty cool by the sound of it. Alright. Final presentation is Disney. Do you guys see the picture of Mufasa that came out today?
Yeah.
Wait, put it in the chat.
So, no, and I'm bummed. We're getting, as we record this, we're getting the Mufasa trailer tomorrow.
Yeah.
Here, I'll send it to you while I'm talking. Captain America Brave New World, in which Harrison Ford is like, I shaved, that's why I look like a total different actor, apparently, in it. Alien Romulus is actually looking good, though. I think I'm excited for that one. It's Kaylee Spaney. I think it'll be good.
They got practical face huggers.
Oh, yeah. Inside Out 2 is going to have a hand-drawn character, so I think everyone's going to cream and it'll just be okay. And I think... Oh, yeah, and then looks at Moana 2 as well, which, I stayed in bed about. Okay, I think that's all of it. That takes us smaller headlines.
Oh my god, that's horrific.
You got the Mufasa picture?
Yeah.
Alright, here we go. Just a few other smaller things. Heather Ann Campbell and Dan Harmon are writing a One Punch Man movie.
Huh.
So one of the Rick and Morty guys, Heather Ann Campbell I listened to on some podcasts, and she kind of knows her anime shit, so I certainly don't agree with everything she says about video games. She has bad Tekken opinions, but I think she knows what she's doing with the One Punch Man movie.
Dan Harmon also made a Community, though.
Yeah. And they're both writing, and they both, of course, do Rick and Morty as well, so we'll see.
What a strange IP for them to get a hold of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of see it, but yeah. Quentin Tarantino cancels the Movie Critic, and everyone thinks they can tell him how to do his job. I say, don't tell the fucking goat how to do what he does best.
What, film women's feet and say the N-word?
Hey, Dad. It's me, I'm Italian. You know what my favorite up-and-coming JRPG is?
Oh, what's that?
A metaphor ReFantasio.
Oh, well, I agree with you, stereotypical Italian. I am very much looking forward to it, especially after that great presentation we got.
And it's a lot of the Persona guys, right?
Yeah, it's Atlas. It doesn't technically have anything to do with Shin Megami Tensei or Persona. It's all new combat system and very, very much a lot of the identity from those games still, though, in the form of like the very stylish UI and the music and the art style. But they're bringing in a lot of like big industry names to work on it, so it looks fantastic.
It looks super sick.
Yeah, I can't. And you can swap. Is it you manually swap between real time and turn based, or there's certain aspects that are both? Like,
I think it's like when you're running around, you can choose to fight enemies, like with real time combat if they're like low level enough, and you can just deal with them. But you can also just go right into turn based for any enemy you want.
that feels like something I need. I'm really excited about that.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah. And Dav, walk us through the Nintendo Switch leaks and rumors.
Sure. So these leaks allegedly came from an accessory manufacturer. They're basically, they had to have the system in order to start working on accessories for it. So what it seems like is the Joy-Con rails are going to be replaced with a magnetic docking structure. the system is going to be larger than the Switch, but smaller than the Steam Deck. But it's going to have a 1080p resolution, allegedly, which is kind of crazy because that's even more than the Steam Deck.
Jesus.
And the dock may have the ability to output in 4K.
So,
And
when you say smaller than the Steam Deck, is it? But also as a dock, so it switches like the Switch did.
yeah.
Okay.
Allegedly, the dock is more round than rectangular. But yeah, the system is overall larger. The cartridge slot apparently is going to be backward compatible with Switch 1.
Oh, good.
But the cartridges won't work on the Switch 1 from the Switch 2.
No, that makes sense, yeah.
Which makes sense. But yeah, I think people are kind of thinking it's kind of a DS to 3DS situation where the cartridges change and everything is overall upgraded. And, you know, if these are true, then that sounds interesting. I appreciate that Nintendo's actually aiming for some higher power. I hope to God they decide to take advantage of the fact that they are pretty ahead of this generation, which has been very stagnant, and focus on making their games run at 60 frames per second. Because we already have confirmation that Thousand Year Door is capped at 30 frames. And that's fucking insane for a Paper Mario game to be capped at 30 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch. So I want them to shoot for everything 60 frames per second, make that the standard going forward, and also just like, I don't know, give some more time for some of these games so that they don't come out half-finished. Like all of the sports games that basically are missing most of their roster when they launch.
Yeah, that was, I never put together that was probably due to the Switch's weird processing power situation, but now that you mention it, that does explain it.
Processing power, and like, frankly, the Switch output for first-party titles has been completely bonkers, especially compared to PlayStation and Xbox. I mean, it's a good thing, but like, you know, some of these games are just not finished. They really needed more time. Mario Strikers was such a shame.
Yeah. I tricked myself into liking that game for a long time.
So, new generation, new opportunity to not be pieces of shit. Bring back virtual consoles. Switch Online bullshit.
Seriously.
Oh God, yeah.
Let me play a GameCube game.
You can! In Thousand Year Door...
Either way, the fact that the Steam Deck is here as like a valid competitor to give me pretty much everything Nintendo hasn't, I'm glad it's here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I guess that'll probably be around Christmas. Yeah, it sounds like a good upgrade. If it's true, then yeah.
Yeah, it could also be a good smokescreen for the Gmod situation. Which is unacceptable. Fucking goddamn Nintendo. Like,
yeah.
And I know there's still some arguments going around about whether or not it's actually them, but I think it's more likely to be them than not. And the fact that they had to take down the Mario Kart map from the really famous Team Fabulous 2 video, which had a tribute to the YouTuber who made that, who passed away from cancer.
Yeah.
Had to remove it because of that.
Golly.
That fucking sucks.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Well, either of you have any other news bulletins I missed?
Steel Ball Run may or may not be confirmed, the anime.
Oh,
May or may
right.
not be?
There's a rumor that it seems like a lot of people are validating it more than not, that the anime is in production right now.
Cool.
We take those. Well, oh my, alright, okay. Well, we made it to... I just realized that was the last thing we record, and I'm, like, consumed by relief at the moment. We made it. We did it. We did the high episode. If you made it to this point and you didn't know we were high the whole time, congratulations.
As I said, I usually am when I do this, so, be on the lookout.
Well, and, I didn't want to explicitly say it at the very beginning, because, I do still have the phobia that my students will find this channel, but none of them are going to listen all the way to here. I can say it now.
Yeah.
I guess there's worse things to be embarrassed about elsewhere on the channel. I have plausible deniability. You don't see my last name. You don't know. Fuck you. Whew. Golly. Yeah, I guess it'd probably be worse if they find the Anna Kendrick thirst video or the Outlaw Golf thirst video.
Yeah, there's worse things they could dig up.
Did you both get the thing I sent?
But Ana de Armas.
One of you describe it, because it's also a small preview for my next video. Wink.
It's a note, apparently for your next video, and the only words on it are Ana de Armas, Friday, and Kangaroo Jack.
That's the notes I take for making videos. You'll learn. You're gonna see the video go up, and you'll be like, oh. Well, I'm gonna sleep good tonight, and I'm Tommy.
And I'm gonna sleep good tonight, and I'm Will.
And I'm gonna sleep in a hospital tonight with diabetic ketoacidosis. And I'm Dav.
Good night, everybody.